Well, good evening everyone and welcome to another Thursday night TechnoLive Intermediate live stream. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a nice day. What's it doing outside? Oh no, it's a bit grey outside. No snow yet. I mean, it is only the 3rd of December? Yeah, but I'm kind of in the mood. I'm kind of ready for a bit of Christmassiness. Yeah, I'm a bit fed up of the whole waiting for the end of the year, but it'll come along soon, I hope. In the meantime, today, if I grab the schedule, here's the schedule. If I grab the schedule, we can see that today we are doing a little bit on HTML. HTML, obviously the language to make websites. We'll be making a nice little homepage ourselves. That's today's session. Tomorrow with TechnoClub over in Cardiff. They're doing some more Unity stuff. Haven't got the schedule up for next week, but next week it is all to do with Hour of Code. So we'll be doing some Minecraft Hour of Code next week. So stay tuned on Tuesday and Thursday for that. In any case, let's get started with our HTML. And I welcome you to my homepage. So your homepage is the first website you see when you open up your browser, when you open Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Opera or Firefox like me, or I don't know, Internet Explorer, Netscape Navigator. Yeah, I'm going back years, but yeah, it's your homepage is the first one that you see, and at the moment my homepage is blank. For most people, their homepage is Google. That's fine. But I thought today we'd make a nice little homepage just to make it nice and sort of cozy. Something that we can, arrive onto and enjoy. And, there's links for our favourite websites maybe. And we can really customize it. In fact, there used to be something called iGoogle. iGoogle was kind of like a Google website, but it was just for you, and you could customize it. You could have little games on it. You could have, quotes of the day. You could have images and fill it all sorts. You could have fish on there, and fish would swim around. We're not doing anything as fancy as that, but seeing as Google closed down iGoogle a couple of years back, we'll be doing our own. Something just simple for now. Anyway, the website we are going to use is html-css-js.com. And I'll pop that link in chat. There we are. And this is a nice little editor that we can make websites in nice and smoothly. It's also got some interactive stuff at the bottom if you want to play around with that and see how they made that. Yeah, but it's good for resources. And if you scroll up to the top, it tells you all the about the editor, the tags, the cheat sheet, all sorts, and you can see your stuff for CSS and stuff for JavaScript and so on. Today we are just using HTML and CSS. We are not using JavaScript. So what I'm going to do, let's get that maximized. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the top right where we've got these view options. And we can view it as if it's we can view our website as if it's on a mobile phone, or if it's on a tablet or a desktop PC. I'm going to use the second one in. That just hides the JavaScript for us. So it gives us more space to work on our website. And that's what we're going to do. And we're going to start by pretty much just deleting everything. So I delete everything in that box. I delete everything in the box in the top left. And it gives us a nice, literal blank canvas to work with. Right. You can come on to the fun stuff now. So we're going to start in this top left panel, and this top left panel is the HTML panel. That's what we're going to start off with, and we start every single HTML document with an open less than symbol. I'm going to call this, I don't know, pointy bracket. So yeah, open pointy bracket or less than symbol, and then an exclamation mark. And we're going to type the word doc type, all in capitals. Finish that off with a space, and then type in HTML in lowercase. And finish off that with a greater than symbol, or as I'm going to say, a close pointy bracket. And all this is doing is it's just setting up our document. We're telling your browser, we're telling Google Chrome that this is a HTML document. Okay, now we've covered lots of website stuff on these TechnoLive streams. We've gone through a lot of it, but just as a reminder, in HTML we have tags, and tags tell the browser what different elements are, and we can have tags inside of tags and all sorts, but the most important thing is every tag has a start tag and an end tag. And the first tag we're going to use is the HTML tag. So I'm going to have an open pointy bracket, HTML, and a close pointy bracket, and as soon as I press enter, this lovely website does for me the closing tag. So it's got the HTML on the opening tag, and it's got the /HTML as the closing tag. And I can tell that's a closing tag because it's got a slash in front of it. It's also jumped our cursor in the middle and moved it away from the left a bit. It's indented the cursor. That's exactly what we want, because what we're going to be writing, we're going to be typing in between these HTML tags. Now, the first thing any website needs is it needs a head tag. And the head tag is basically telling your browser all the information that we don't want the user to see. So things like the title, what scripts we might be using, what language it might be in, what keywords for Google to look through when you do a Google search, that kind of thing. So let's write a head tag. Open pointy bracket, head, close pointy bracket, and again this lovely website's finished that off for me with the closing head tag. Now just be aware, not all website editors let you do this, but this one does. It's a nice little feature, I quite like it. So what data are we going to put in our head tag? Well, we're only going to put in one piece of data because we don't need to worry about the rest of the gubbins that happens with a normal website, because this website's just going to be for us. It's just going to be for us to use, not anyone else on the internet. So we don't need to worry about anything too much, except the title. And the title is what appears in the tab. So every time you've got a tab, this bit, like the bit that says new tab or the bit that says HTML, CSS, JavaScript, these are the titles. So to create a title, I'm going to have pointy open bracket and the word title. I'm going to type the close pointy open bracket. Sorry, the close pointy bracket. And again, this lovely website finishes that off for us. And this can be the title of your homepage. So it could just be homepage, or it could be my fancy new tab page. Or it could be, I don't know, You know what? I've forgotten how to use words today. Completely forgotten. I'm just going to call this homepage. There we are. I finally got my words in order. Let's call ours homepage. Now we can't see anything, of course, but that's intended because remember, everything that happens between the open head tag and the close head tag, that is all handled by the browser. The user doesn't see anything that's written here. So how do we get something actually on screen? Well, we've got the head. Now we need the body. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor after the head on line 5. After we have closed the head, I'm going to press enter. This makes sure that I'm not working inside the head, I'm working outside the head. And here we're going to have our body. And the body is where we put all the content that we want the user to see. So open pointy bracket, the word body, close pointy bracket, and it writes it out for us. And now anything we type here, so anything we type here, now appears over on the right. And over on the right, this is a live view of the web page that you are making. So, hello world, and so on. However, I could carry on typing like that, but it's really bad practice to make websites that way. One of the beautiful things about HTML has lots of different tags, and these different tags let us do lots of different things. So if I open up the tags thing here, we can see a list of all the HTML tags out there. So yeah, there's a lot of tags. One of the ones we're going to use just for demonstration purposes is the heading tags. And the heading tags are what you use, to give your website a heading. So open. The first heading is H1. This is the largest heading. You usually use this for the title of a website. Like say, hello world. Oh, there we are. It's a lot bigger. It's got a nicer font. Okay. I'm actually going to scrap my H1 and just kept that in there for demonstration purposes. But I've got bigger plans for what's going in here. And what we're going to add in here is a little something I came up with myself ages ago for use on the sofa. So it would go that I would, have a lovely day's work at Technocamps. Then I'd sit down on the sofa for the evening and watch a bit of telly. And what I would do is I'd made a home page so that I could easily access things like Netflix, YouTube, what else is there that's got video? BBC iPlayer. I could access all those things, Twitch. And I had a nice page where I could see them and they're all laid out in the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to make something a bit like that. I'm going to show you how I made mine. And of course, you're welcome to tweak it because it's yours. It's your homepage. You can do whatever you like with it. So let me describe a little bit about what I had. I had 8 sort of boxes in the middle. And each box I could click on. It would take me to YouTube or it would take me to Twitch and so on. And each box was coloured. So I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to make those boxes. And I'm going to make 8 of them. And the easiest way to do that, at least I found, was to use a table. And a table, or a table tag, is a lovely way of laying things out in HTML. So the first tag we're going to use is the table tag. So open pointy bracket, then the word table, then close pointy bracket. And there we are. We've now created a table. Trouble is now we need to think about, what does a table have? A table has rows and columns, but also each box in the table, each cell, is a thing in itself. So let's start on the rows. How do we show a row of a table? Well, that's got the HTML tag of tr. So open pointy bracket, tr, close pointy bracket, and that's given us a row tag. So now I need to think about, what does a row have? Well, it has obviously a piece of data for each column. So what do we need next? Well, we need the data that actually goes in this. This is the table data, or TD for short. So the tag I'm going to put in next is TD. And now we are in the first box, the first cell of the table. So I could put in box 1, and we can see that it's come up in there. Before we go any further, there's something I would like to draw your attention to that makes this much nicer to use. If you go up to settings in the top left, there is an option here called highlight HTML blocks. And I like to keep this on because it draws a border around everything that we create, and it's really, really useful for laying things out properly and seeing what's coming from where, and where the borders are to everything. So you can see we've got a little box around our box 1. That's our first piece of table data. After box 1, I'm going to press enter, and now I can write my second piece of table data. So TD box 2, and the third TD box 3, TD box 4. Let's leave it at 4 boxes for now. Of course, you can put anything in as table data, so we don't have to use the words box 4. We could use a heading, we could use an image, we could use whatever we wanted. In fact, I could have this one as, I don't know, my lovely horse. And there we are, we've got a box called my lovely horse. And so on. But we're just putting in some placeholder stuff for now, because what we're going to put into these boxes, or into these table data slots, is the useful stuff. Now, I said we were going to make 8 boxes. That's exactly what I'm going to do. But rather than all in one row, as in all flat in horizontal across the screen, maybe I want them in the next row. So how do I do that? Well, I need to make a new table row. So here, between lines 8 and 13 is my first row. I want to make my next row, so I'm going to go after my first row. Press enter. And now I can make another row with TR. And I can fill this one with lots of TDs. So this one's going to be box 5. Wrong button. Box 6. Box 7. Box TD. I made a mistake there. Ooh, it's all gone a bit wibbly. There we are. And box 302, or otherwise known as box 8. Okay, it's a little bit small on screen, but you should be able to pick up that I've now got 8 boxes that are all sitting quite nicely up in the top left-hand corner. And believe it or not, other than what goes in the boxes, we're kind of done on the HTML side. Now we're going to flip over and start using CSS, which is in this window in the bottom left. And basically, CSS is there to make things look pretty. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And the first thing we're going to make pretty, well, we're going to make the boxes much larger, because at the moment they are absolutely tiny. In fact, it's quite hard to see on screen. So the way that HTML works is we sort of give rules or give attributes or properties, as they are known, to each type of tag. And the way I'm going to do this, the way I'm going to give TDs certain properties, is in the CSS section. I'm going to type out TD, then a space, and then a open curly bracket, and enter. Let's make that a little bit bigger on screen. There we are. So I've got TD, then a space, then an open curly bracket, and a closed curly bracket. And in between these two brackets, I can write lots of different properties for TD to have. And the properties it can have, they're kind of reserved words. You can find what they are by going to the CSS bit up here in the cheat sheet. You load for me? Yeah, they have. So this is a nice little cheat sheet for it. And the properties tab, you got loads of properties. Things like border color, color, display, flex, font stretch, max width, at media, overflow, page break, perspective origin. Oh, that's a new one. It does 3D now apparently. Huh. I can never keep up with web technologies. And yeah, you can see there's lots to do with CSS. We're going to just do a couple of basic ones. And the first one I'd like to change is the width of the box. So I'm going to use the property keyword width. Now, you'll have to help me keep an eye out because I always spell it width. I always make the typo WDITH. So if you see me doing that, give me a shout. But width, I'm going to follow that up with a colon and a space, and anything I put after the colon is going to be the width. So for example, if I want the box to be 100 pixels wide, I type in 100 followed by px for pixels. Now, CSS is another one of those scripts that likes to finish off everything with a semicolon. So I'm going to finish that line with a semicolon. So width, colon, 100px, semicolon. And we can see now that the boxes have become wider. I could change that to whatever I want. I could have it as 10 pixels, 100 pixels, 1,000 pixels, 5 pixels, 6 pixels, 7 pixels. You may notice that there gets to a point where they can't get any smaller or they can't get any wider. That's because what's inside them, the word box one, is larger than the number that we put in. I'm just going to leave this as 100 pixels because 100's a nice round number. So we've sorted out the width. What about sorting out the height? So I'm going to press enter. And now we can do the same with the height. So height, colon, 100 px, semicolon. And you should see now that we've got some lovely larger boxes. Because this is applying to every TD, each TD will be setting its width and height to 100 px, or 100 pixels. Okay, what else can we do to neaten this up? Well, tell you what. Let's make this text, the box 1, box 2, box 3, etc. Let's make that central. At the moment it's hanging over on the left. That's kind of useless to us. We want it to be aligned to the center. So underneath height, I'm going to use the next property, which is text, or for text, dash align. I'm spelling out because I never remember how to spell align. A-L-I-G-N, yeah, that's right. So text dash align, colon. And rather than a number, I'm going to put in a keyword, and the keyword we're looking for is center. And finish that off with a semicolon. And we can see as soon as we've got text align colon center, semicolon, all the text is now in the center of the boxes on our website. So yeah, a bit neater, a bit nicer, a bit smoother all around. What else can we fix? Whilst I'm thinking that, give me a second. Oh, a lovely cup of tea. Shout out to Usgol Green Hill, who we did a workshop with TechnoLive today, and they helped me make one of the most disgusting cups of tea I've ever had. So, yeah. Just a reminder, if you're in a school in Wales and you want a nice way to get out of lessons for a bit of fun activity time, then beg your teacher to reach out to TechnoCamps, where we can come into your schools and we do a nice fun session on computer science. Possibly things like, Minecraft, Greenfoot, Python, a little bit of game design, all sorts. So if you're into that and you want your classmates to enjoy that as well, and possibly get out of double maths, give your teacher a shout. Anyway, enough prattling on. Where was I? Okay, let's fix a couple of other things. This is our website at the moment. If I click this little screen icon in the top right, I can have a preview of what my website looks like on someone's screen. We can see what it looks like on a tablet, mobile phone, and a mobile phone horizontally. No matter which one I choose, my table is always in the top left. And that's not very good looking. It's not very aesthetically pleasing. So what I'm going to teach you now is secret knowledge. And it has sort of served me for the majority of my programming life. And not many people know of this. And it is by far, in my opinion, one of the fastest and easiest ways to make a website look nice. And that's by making everything centered. And this is kind of a hacky way. It's if there's any proper web developers watching, look away. But I think this one works a charm. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at our body tag. And I am going to set the margin of the body tag. Now, a margin is the amount of space surrounding an item. And we can make that margin larger or smaller and so on. And we can change the margin on the left, we can change the margin on the right, at the top or the bottom, or we can change the whole margin all at once. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do that with the body, the whole HTML body, and I'm going to set the margin so that the margin on top is 0, the margin on bottom is 0, but the margin side to side is going to automatically be half the size of the screen. And it has this lovely effect of making everything in your web page nice and central. And there's easier ways of doing this, and there's more complicated ways of doing this, and there's better ways of doing this, but this is the one I like the most because it's easy to remember. So we're going to apply these properties to the body. So I need to go to my CSS portion. And after the closing bracket of TD, I'm going to start writing out body, which applies to all of what we can see on the screen. I'm going to open with a curly bracket. And now I can begin writing my properties. And this is the line to remember. This is the one that makes everything just tickety-boo and brilliant. Margin. Colon. This is the code to set the margin. We set the top and the bottom to 0. So there is no gap at the top and there's no gap at the bottom. And we set the left and right margin to auto. And that's all we need. We finish it off with a semicolon. And you'll notice nothing has happened. And the reason for that is the body is currently taking up the full width of the website. So there is no space either side. So it can't make things nice and centered, which is a little bit annoying. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the body a little bit smaller. We're going to make it a little bit slimmer. So I need to set the width of the body. So width, colon. And I could set a nice pixel amount. So I could say 100 pixels, 500 pixels, or whatever. The trouble is when you set the width of a screen to be, the width of an item, HTML to be a certain pixel amount, that's going to stay the same no matter what device you view it on. So if you view it on a high resolution 4K monitor, 100 pixels is going to be tiny. But if you view it on a smartwatch, which has a screen that's only 50 pixels wide, it's going to be huge. So by typing in set solid numbers, it's not going to be nice and even across the board. It's going to change depending on what screen you're viewing things on. So instead of using pixels this time, we're going to use percentages. And percentages basically say what percentage of the space I have available to me should I take up. So if we set the width of the body to, let's say, 50%, the body is going to be 50% the width of the screen. And you may have noticed things are kind of jostled around a little. Let's take a look. Yeah, things are a bit closer to getting central, but not perfect. And if we look at our outlines, we can see this sort of outer one here in the dotted green, goes around there. That is our body. But we can see that the table is currently hanging out to the left of the body, which isn't great. So let's fix that actually. Let's do the exact same trick with the table. So I'm going to write in my CSS section, table, open curly bracket, a margin, 0, auto, close with a semi bracket. So I've taken the table tag and I've given it the margin property, but with 0 top and bottom margin and automatic sized margins either side. So now when we look, we can see that our table is hanging around in the middle of our screen no matter what size our screen is, which is lovely. That's, you know, nice little neat way of doing things. Tell you what, let's bring it down to the middle of the page. Let's give it a little more maneuverability. And just thinking what's the best way to do that. Okay, so I've talked about margin, and margin is the space around the outside of an item. Now I'm going to talk about padding. Padding is the space inside an item. So if I were to add padding into the body, it would if I added padding at the top, it would jostle the table down. If I added padding at the bottom, it would jostle the table up. If I added padding both at the top and the bottom, it would sort of even things out so that the table is in the middle. At least that's what I'm hoping. Let's test it. So in the body tag, in the body section of the CSS, I'm going to play around with the padding dash top property. Padding dash top colon. And here I can put a number or a percentage. So if I put 50%, the box dips down to the bottom. If I put in 15%, hovers around the top. 0% does nothing, of course. 10%, 100%, it's off the screen. 150%, we can't even see it. So you could decide where you want to put your box, your table. I want to try something actually. What I want to do here, I've set the padding top to 50%. So in this gap up here, we've got 50% the available height that we can go to. I wonder if we do down here padding dash bottom for what goes underneath. This is how much space fits in underneath. I wonder if we change that to 50%, what do we get? Oh, that's interesting. We get a very long body with the table in the middle. Trouble is, the body is too long for the web page. So maybe if we reduce that one down to 15, maybe that won't work. 30. Let's just remove padding bottom. Basically, you can change the values of padding top and padding bottom to whatever you want to get the box in the right position for you. And if you want to be precise, you can even use the pixel option, but of course that's only for your monitor, not for anyone else's. So if you're doing this on a phone, then you will have different values to someone who's doing it on a laptop screen and so on. Anyway, I think we've just about had enough faffing around with the sort of layout of things. I want to actually get some links involved just to kind of tie everything together. In fact, actually, first of all, I want to get some color involved because at the moment this is a very boring website. It's just white and black. And the lines that you can see are just the ones that we've got automatically there for us in the layout section. And highlight HTML blocks in the settings. So that's what our website actually looks like. I mean, that's kind of in nowadays, very minimalistic, but no, I want color. And there's many ways of adding color. We could add color in the CSS file, which is one way of doing it, but I want to do it kind of a more lazy way, just because it's easier in the long run. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a style property to each one of these TDs in our HTML section. So, if we go to our first TD for box 1, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cursor after the D and before the close pointy bracket and press space. And here we can start giving a HTML tag some special properties. So one property I could give it is style. Notice that has gone blue. And I could say style equals, and what I'm going to add now is a speech mark. There we are. We'll notice that this lovely website has already put in a closing speech mark for me already. And in between these speech marks, I can put any CSS property I like. And this is something called Inline Css. This here is called external CSS. But inline CSS actually happens inside the HTML tag. And it's a nice way of, if you're making a website and you've just got one thing that's different to all the others, you could just pop a little bit of inline CSS there if you wanted. It's up to you. It's just more options. Developers, web developers and programmers, they just love options no matter what. Anyway, the CSS property I'm going to use is background colon. And here I need to put a number that represents a color. Now, the colors that we were using are represented by hexadecimal. So I'm just trying to find the right site for it. There we are. Okay, so there's a website called W3 Schools. And they have a color picker on there. W3 Schools basically is operated by the W3 Consortium. And the W3 Consortium are basically the people who are kind of in charge of the internet. Or at least in charge of the World Wide Web. So yeah, they're kind of important. And they kind of know what they're talking about. But if you scroll down on this page, you can see they list quite a few colours. So you could pick a colour you like, or you could pick a different one. And the number you are looking for. What colour should we go for? Actually, this box here, I've decided, is going to be my link to YouTube. So I'm going to make it YouTube red. So you're going to pick out a nice colour that represents the YouTube logo. That one's close enough. The number you are looking for is the one that starts with a hashtag. And I hate that we have to call them hashtags now. That symbol used to be called the pound symbol. But no, it's better known as hashtags. But hashtag FF0000 is the number we need for this colour of red. So that's what I'm going to type out. hashtag FF0000. This is called the hex value of that color. So I'm still in my TD element. I've written out background colon because this is some CSS. And I could type out hashtag FF0000. And because it's CSS, I finished it off with a semicolon. And we can see that box is now red. So let's do that for the other ones. If this one's going to be YouTube, this one here I reckon should be Twitch. Yeah, let's have this one as Twitch. What's the colour for... I want to find out what kind of purple the Twitch logo is. So I'm actually going to search Google or whatever searching service you want to use. Hex value for Twitch. And see what comes up. Okay, this might be useful. This is what comes up. Apparently the hex value for Twitch is 6441A5. Let's give that a go. So I'm going to go into the TD. I'm going to write out style equals speech mark. And inside the speech mark's background colon hashtag 6441E5. That's 35. I don't want 35. I wanted E5. There we are. That's the right colour. Thank you, website, whatever website you are. So that's the colour I've got in there for Twitch, and then I have style equals background. What other websites do I visit? Oh, let's put the TechnoCamps website in because, of course, I always visit the TechnoCamps website. Why wouldn't you? It's got so many great things on there. Like, it's got this little icon down here which you can use to get in touch with us at any time. News, events. Of course, we've got Techno Clubs. I've mentioned the Techno Clubs. You can sign up to those for next term now if you like. Resources, activity packs, and so on. It's a great website. A good one to put on your homepage because nice and fast to get to. So the website is technocamps.com. I know because I've made lots of resources for it that the code for TechnoCamps Yellow is E7CB1B. There we are. I'm glad I remembered that now. One of my co-workers would probably kick me if they found out that I'd forgotten the code for TechnoCamps Yellow. Anyway, that's going to be TechnoCamps. I'm trying to think what other websites I visit all the time. Can I find out the hex value for Netflix? Just searching. Okay, this website says that the hex value for Netflix is background colon hashtag or pound E50914. There we are. I don't know whether that comes across on your screen, but that's a different kind of red to the YouTube one. You can actually tell it, this is definitely a different red. It's a little darker and a little bit more blue in there. So, yeah. You can fill out the bottom set of boxes for you. I'm just going to focus on the top set now, just because otherwise we could be here all day. But we've got the colours. What about the links? What's the point in clicking on these if it doesn't take me anywhere? So here is where we get a little bit more crafty. Notice how that's moving nice and smoothly as I drag that. That's because we use percentages rather than pixel values. It's kind of nice. Anyway, enough of that. So where it says box 1, I need to replace that with a link to, well, this one's for YouTube. So what can I do here? Well, I can use another HTML tag, and the HTML tag for links is open pointy bracket A, then space, and here we can actually put data into the A tag, and we want to put in something called href, and href is hyperlink reference. And we're going to say href equals speech mark. And inside the speech mark, we can put in the address for any website that we like. So this box is going to be a link to YouTube. So I could put in https://www.youtube.com. Because that's the website address for YouTube. Okay, I'm going to finish that off with a close pointy bracket. And we can see this website has automatically put in a /a closing tag for me. If we look at my website now, oh, what's going on here? It's just a dot. That's not useful to us. It's not clicking anywhere either. And that's because we've made the link, but we haven't given the user any text to type with. Sorry, to click on. So we need to type in some text. I could type in I could say click here. And we get it. It's very hard to see on the red, but it's a little bit of text that says click here. And if I were to click on it, it would open up YouTube. That's a little bit big though. For style reasons, I'm just going to change that to Y. And yeah, leave it as that. And we can, it's a little bit small. We can tidy that up later. I'm just going to leave it as just Y at the moment. Okay, now I can fill in all the links for the other ones. So the next one was going to be Twitch. So open pointy bracket A, href equals speech mark, https://twitch.tv, move one space to the right, close the pointy bracket. And this is going to be a T for Twitch. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. On the next one, this is going to be for the Technocamps website. So open pointy bracket A, href equals speech marks, https://technocamps.com. Move one space to the right. End it with a closing pointy bracket, and this is going to be another T for Technocamps. Also, I'm going to delete it where it says box 3 because we don't need box 3 anymore. And finally, we need something for Netflix. So a href equals https://netflix.com. I hope that's the right address for Netflix. Close that with a pointy bracket and a big N for Netflix. Okay. We now have all the links for these sorted. So if I right click and... That's not what I'm looking for. Open link in new tab. We can see that opens Twitch. Right click, open link in new tab. That opens TechnoCamps, and so on. My next protocol is to make those letters larger. So how can we do that? Well, we can do that with our trusty friend CSS. So these are the A tags. These are the links. So in the CSS section, I'm going to type out A because we're talking about A tags, and open a curly bracket. And here we can do the CSS property for font size. So with A, I could type in, let's say, font dash size colon. I can make it huge, I can make it small. I can make it a percentage. I can make it whatever I like. So let's just try 50 px for 50 pixels and see what that looks like. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's kind of nice actually. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double the size of the font to 100 pixels. But I'm also going to double the size of the table data to 200 pixels each way. Just so it's a bit nicer to see on screen. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Let's change the padding top to 10. Yeah. That's not. I would say that's quite a nice homepage. Maybe bump that to 15. Yeah. Okay. So we've dealt with the font size. We should probably deal with the font color. And that's nice and simple. It's the word color, but spelled the American way. C-O-L-O-R. And this is the next CSS property, and color, again, it needs to be... actually, if I remember correctly, it can be either a hex value, so it could be FF00FF for purple, or 000000 for black, or FFFFFF for white. I believe you could just type out the word white for colour. You can! Ah. Oh, thank you, brain, for remembering that. Anyway. So I've chosen white just because it stands out nicely against any colour that we decide to use, unless we decide to use white. Other things I should fix. Well, it's currently all underlined. I'm not so keen on them being underlined. So to get rid of that, I'm going to say text dash decoration colon none. Ooh. So text decoration or text dash decoration. This is where you can set things to be italic or bold or underlined or strike through. So I could type in strike through. No, I can't. Let me just get text decoration up. I can't remember what it... Properties. Oh, line through, overline and underline. So we could have things like overline, which puts a line above stuff. Don't know why anyone would like that. Line through, which puts a line through the middle of it. And of course you got underline. I don't want them underlined at all, so I'm just going to type out none. Finally, when it comes to text, there's just one thing I want to switch out. And that is the font. So if you look at mine, they've got these little curly hangy offy bits, that's called this is because currently my browser is using a serif font, which gives it these little curly bits. If I wanted something a little bit nicer, I could use a sans serif font. So the easiest way to change fonts is with CSS, where we can type in font-family : and here I can start naming any font that I want for my website, and I name them with using speech marks and a comma between the name of each one. Now the problem is, not every browser supports every font. So for example, Firefox might work with Times New Roman, which is a common font, whereas Google Chrome might not. Or Microsoft Edge might work with Comic Sans, but Opera does not, or Vivaldi does not, or Brave does not. So what we do when we're developing websites is we list as many fonts that we can think of that we want to use in order of what we would prefer the most. So my favourite font is Verdana. So I'm going to type out the name of the font, which is Verdana. If my browser supports Verdana, it will default to Verdana first. Actually, it seems that my browser does support Verdana, which is nice. Huh. Weird. Let's try a font that might not work on this. Might not work on this browser, on this computer. Let's try Gil Sans. No, Gil Sans hasn't worked. So the font Gil Sans is my favourite font, so I say I want that first. But it might not work on every browser, so now I need to put up a backup font. One that will default to if someone joins on a website that doesn't have that. So my next favourite is going to be Verdana. And after Verdana, I might prefer Helvetica. I have spat that completely wrong. And after Helvetica, I might prefer, I don't know, Courier or Courier. And at the end, if I've exhausted a list of fonts and I still haven't found one I like, we can type in the actual word serif or sans serif. So sans serif, it's French, it's spelled sans-serif, S-E-R-I-F. And if we have failed to find a font that we like, it'll default to whatever's installed on the computer of the user. That's sans serif or serif. And of course I finish that off with a semicolon. And that gives me a lovely little, kind of almost a fully complete web page. Let's just, I know I've already gone 3 minutes over time. I'm just going to polish some things off. I'm going to make the body black, so body background colon black semicolon. That's quite nice, that is. Yeah. Anything else I want to change? Tell you what, I'll delete the bottom row for now, just so we can see what it would look like complete. So I'm just going to delete the bottom row. Then I'm going to go to settings, highlight HTML blocks, turn that off, and then we can view my website, which will look a little bit like that. It's not ideal, but if you were to have this on your web page, can I export this at all? No, I can't. Oh, and I've just deleted it. Let's go back. Can't go back. Oh, that was a stupid mistake. Oh, crying out. All I wanted to do was try and download it. Oh, you absolute numpty of a web. Oh. Anyway, it was going all so well just up until the end, but that's life. Anyway, I hope you've had a wonderful evening. I hope you've made some fantastic home pages. Mine's disappeared. Well, mine's actually gone and deleted itself, but oh well. Just remember that tomorrow in Code for Friday, they will be doing a little bit of Unity. The Code Clubs for next term, the sign-up forms will be available very soon. We're working on those. And for next week, which I don't have a schedule made, next week in TechnoLive Tuesday and Thursday, we'll be doing a little bit of Minecraft Hour of Code. In any case, I hope you've had a lovely evening. I've already said that. I'm tired. I need tea. Good night.